I'm not happy.
I don't need Elizabeth Warren or the government giving away my money.
Calling Mike Bloomberg an oligarch has implications in this country that I think are unfair and unreasonable.
I care. That's it.
Makes you think of some rich person who got their money off of oil in Russia, who's taking advantage of a broken and dysfunctional system.
Bernie Sanders saying, the country's corrupt, our system's corrupt. Be careful about that language, Bernie. You know, be careful.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Amazing.
There's insanity in the control room.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Around the Nation right here. Jeff Waldorf here with you. So we're a little late today. Sorry about that in the live show. Those of you who are listening, not only, and of course YouTube, YouTube channel, Twitch, Facebook, on the internet radio with FI Nation. Sorry about that. We're here. It's really, really hot. Not that that's an excuse. I'm just saying that it's really, really hot today. So, like, I am, like, sweating buckets up here, even though I have an air conditioner. Disaster. But anyway, like I said, insanity in the control room. In fact...
Who's got a hammer?
There's a hammer. There's a hammer. We need to find it. So, that said, we got a good show for y'all today. Fun stuff. As I awkwardly adjust my microphone. Fun times. All right, everybody. Please, for one, like and share the stream. I'm about to do that myself on the various different platforms. Do that. But we've got fun stories. We have Alex Jones versus Trump. Interesting. We got a fake internet cow. Oh, that's the Devin's cow story is fantastic. You're going to love it. You're going to enjoy that one because it's an update. The fun update. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene goes after Kamala Harris. Once again, these chuds make me defend people that I don't like. And so, great. Thanks a lot, assholes. Appreciate it. And then we also are going to talk about the audit in Arizona and some fun updates on that one. And we might actually have, okay. Let's not go too far, okay? Let's not put the cart before the horse, or the horse medication, or the horse paste in this case. Let's not do that. But we may have gotten a little bit closer to a win on the infrastructure bill. Interesting. So I'm going to do that. We're going to talk about that. So please, stay tuned. Stay tuned. MTG has her own 3-letter abbreviation now. Had it. How you like that, boy? I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I have not loved this conversation.
Nope. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But anyway, yep. So they're trying to do the AOC thing. They're trying to be like, oh, no, she's as cool as AOC. No, she's not. She's psychotic. She's a conspiracy theorist who thinks that, like, Jewish laser beams are causing wildfires. She's a moron, and she's very dangerous. But I love how they keep trying to brand conservatives. For people who are actually pretty good at messaging, and by that I mean co-opting a progressive message and then using it to cover up for like the horrible shit that they want to do. They're actually have been failing so hard at trying to challenge AOC, like trying to come up with the conservative AOC. And they're trying so hard. And it's fun to watch them fail. Fun to watch them fail every day. Yeah, that is literally water. Okay? Just saying. Drinking water today. Hydration. Important. You can see my gigantic sweat spot. It's like super embarrassing. That's how hot it is. Almost 100 degrees. And I know people in the in Pacific Northwest are like, bitch, you think it's hot. I know. Look, I'm just saying when it comes to heat, that is my weakness. Heat ray, which really sucks considering climate change. Okay. All right, anyway, enough wasting time. Let's get to it. Before I do, thank you, Square Peg Round Hole, for resubbing at Tier 1. Appreciate that. Also, I want to give a shout out here to a new follow to the channel, Rayvana. So, new follower. You might be familiar with her since she does reactions videos on the TYT Twitch channel, as well as Rebel HQ videos. She's a brand new follow here on our Twitch channel, thriving Twitch community, which is great. So if you want to join that, that's awesome. If you're already there, you're also awesome. Yeah. And you should definitely follow her show as well. So she does reactions, of course, on the TYT Twitch channel, and of course her own show at, I would say, around 8 p.m. Eastern is usually when she's on doing her own stream. She's based. So check her out. I'm going to be doing some collab with her later on this week. So that should be a lot of fun. So yeah, shout out to reactions. Please give her a follow. All right. Anyway, let's do it. Trump versus Alex Jones versus Trump. It appears that Donald Trump might have finally lost Alex Jones for good. Oh, wow. Okay. Now, on Sunday, the InfoWars host and conspiracy theorist went on a rampage after Donald Trump encouraged his followers to get vaccinated against COVID-19. I know, right? What a big transgression here, telling your followers, I don't want you to die. Which is strangely out of character for Donald Trump, because normally he doesn't care about that stuff. I guess maybe they need him, or he needs them for, more donations. I don't know what it is. All right, well, sure. So now this follows a rally in Coleman, Alabama, where the former president was booed for actually encouraging his followers to go on that and get the COVID-19 vaccination. So I want to show you Alex Jones' reaction to this. Let's watch.
You got lied to, Trump. It didn't have 98% efficacy. We knew day one it wouldn't work, period. It's a fraud. It'll create mutants. You got chumped. You got signed on to a fraud to restart the economy. I understand why you did it. You believe in science. Except these are bad actors, sir. You believed America could produce a good vaccine. Of course they could have. They didn't want to. They didn't create a vaccine. They created a Frankenshot. And now they've got you signed up to it. Now the left's saying you better get out there and push it, and you are. CNN comes out and says, we need to see Trump come out and tell people to take the shots. And within weeks of them saying it over and over again, CNN snaps their fingers, Jeff Zucker snaps his fingers, and Trump clicks his heels and hops up there at attention and says, how high do you want me to jump, boss?
All right, let me just say, I kind of miss this guy. Nobody pulls off an unhinged rant quite like Alex Jones, and does it in a way that is extremely entertaining. Of course, he's full of shit, but that's part of the game. That's part of the shtick. And so he talks about the mutants. There's mutants everywhere. All right, well, I already got vaccinated. Where the hell is my mutant powers? I want mutant powers. Like, I'm still not magnetic. I can't control magnets. I got no 5G tracking abilities. I don't glow in the dark. I'm feeling a little bit robbed here. I was promised mutant powers. All right, I was promised magnetism. What happened? I was hoping for something awesome, but all I got was just a reduced chance of hospitalization and death from COVID-19. Robbed. It's almost as if Alice Jones was just spreading dangerous disinformation about the vaccine and COVID-19. Weird. But he did touch on something that was sort of interesting here. And if you weren't listening closely, you might have missed it because, talking about the mutants and everything. But here's what he said. You signed on to a fraud to restart the economy. Projection 101. Here's the thing. The economy is the #1 reason Republicans want to send kids back to school, even while the Delta variant is tearing through certain parts of the country that are largely unvaccinated and getting even young children sick. So now you have increased numbers of children getting sick with COVID-19 with visible symptoms and hospitalized. Now, of course, the share, is still lower than adults who are unvaccinated that end up facing serious illness, but it is rising among children. And that is very concerning, especially since a lot of places are starting school or have started school already. And in a lot of places, Republican governors are saying no to mask mandates when it comes to school. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis is a great example of that. But the thinking here is, to go along with what Alex was saying, is that if the kids are in school, the parents can go back to work in the office, in person, and understand that that's actually why both parties are pushing to get the kids back in school. It's just the Republicans are saying, no mask mandates, nothing like that, no to keeping our kids safe, just send it back anyway. They want to make sure that the kids who go back to school are not protected at all. So, there's a difference. And we find out, of course, there's a reason why. Ron DeSantis just happens to have donors that are heavily invested in Regeneron and was actually pushing Regeneron. So it is projection. In reality, of course, we all know the capitalists do want those kids back in school, parents back to work, the economy restarted in lieu of actual safety. And if you do care about safety, in places where the Delta variant is surging amongst the unvaccinated, you should definitely have mask mandates or, barring that, not let the kids back in school until they're able to get vaccinated. And that's why, understand, a lot of conservatives throughout, Republicans, especially during the early stages of the pandemic, first tried to argue that sacrificing grandma to the almighty stonks is something that she'd approve of, which she didn't. Yeah, I know some conservatives I would gladly die for the economy to reopen so that rich people can get richer. Okay, well, you first. And then, of course, when things got real bad, they decided to push fake cures towards understandably desperate people. Now, at the time, before we had vaccines, yeah, I understand people trying to go and find as many of the possible protections against COVID-19 that they thought might work. Again, we're dealing with very desperate people who are influenced by mainly right-wingers pushing disinformation. All right, people like Donald Trump and others that might actually have some investments in some of these things, right? And some of these things that may have even shown some positive studies beforehand, or maybe some positive, we have results here, but then upon further examination, it turns out it causes more problems than it actually solves. And we have seen that with numerous cures, but now, or supposed cures, but now we have a vaccine and it generally works. And yet, here's the new narrative. No, we can't do the vaccine. We've got to go and do these alternative cures. And so it's a pretty interesting slip or admission, and maybe he didn't expect anybody to kind of read into that. But hey, I've got more on that video. Let's keep going.
BS. Trump, that's a lie. You're not stupid. Just 2 weeks ago, they said it was 65%, then 40%. Saw a number put up about Pfizer shots, 30-some%. Because they just want to tell you it doesn't work, so you're running at the new damn shot. And then they'll tell you in 6 months that one doesn't work. It's called rope-a-dope. Shame on you, Trump. Seriously. Hey, if you don't have the good sense to save yourself and your political career, that's okay. At least you're going to get some good Republicans elected. And, you know, we like you, but my God, maybe you're not that bright. Maybe Trump's actually a dumbass.
Maybe. Maybe he's a dumbass. Maybe. Have you been paying attention at all? And no, Trump's one of the dumbest people in America, and we've proved it over and over again. But Alex Jones knows that. But at least on the vaccines, he's actually taking this, taking the initiative to say, well, you should probably get vaccinated. I mean, until you boo me, and then I'm going to say, well, freedom. But doing that, at least try to put out that message that, hey, I took the vaccine, you probably should too, because it does work. Well, it's one of the smartest things Donald Trump has actually done. And I wish he would have done it sooner. But a lot of what Alex Jones said, by the way, when he was, rattling off efficacy claims, is the fact that the vaccine is effective at making sure that if you get sick, you're way less likely to end up in the hospital, right? That's counter to what Alex Jones had been saying. Oh, the efficacy, 95%, blah, 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 right? Or 65 or 40%. Here's the thing. He does that kind of stuff to confuse people. When you cherry pick data, that serves to confuse people and think, well, if it's not as effective as they say, then why should I take it? But again, the fact is, you're just less likely to get sick. And if you do, it's less likely to be serious. You're way less likely to end up in a hospital, end up on a ventilator, or dead when you have a breakthrough case, because there are and will continue to be breakthrough cases. And we've known this the whole time. We've known this the whole time. Okay, breakthrough cases, they do happen, and the only thing here is the people who have those are much less likely to be hospitalized or die from those breakthrough cases. Vaccines never meant that you can't actually not get the virus. You are less likely to get the virus, or less likely to show symptomatic illness from the virus, because the body, thanks to the vaccine, learns how to fight off the illness. Jones and people like him understand that they rely on people being ignorant of how vaccines work in order to sell their own miracle cures or supplements that are, and here's the irony about that are not FDA approved. Now, the reason that I point to that, of course, is here you have a lot of people on the right that are saying, well, not FDA approved, not FDA approved. Well, now it is. Now it is. But the supplements that you're taking are not FDA approved. Or even if they are in certain circumstances, they're still not approved for use for COVID-19. And so, yes, vaccines are not cures. Vaccines are protection. Just like masks, vaccines are a way to protect yourself from getting seriously ill and going into the hospital and or dying. And so, but again, there are people out there that are pushing this disinformation in order to basically do their own thing. And Alex Jones, I mean, he sells his own supplements. One more thing. Jones also accidentally made an interesting point that being pro-vaccine in today's Republican Party is basically no bueno. You are persona non grata if you take or promote this vaccine. If you want to save your political career, and this is Alex Jones thinking, if you want to save your political career that I've coattailed off and made millions of dollars from, well, then stop promoting the vaccines. This is a good grift we've got going, and I really like you, but stop doing the thing that hurts my business interests, which is, of course, literally selling bullshit. Because he sells these ridiculous supplements that don't work. Jones is nothing but an actor, a businessman, a snake oil salesman / carnival barker. And he has admitted that over and over. In fact, I have one more video for you, and this is from earlier this year. Well, it came out earlier this year of an older interview back in 2019 where Alex Jones basically admits that he never really liked Donald Trump, never really cared for him. Take a look.
Part of me, the selfish part, wishes I'd never met Donald Trump, wishes that I'd never met Roger Stone, because unlike previous things I'd done that were game-changing, those were just time-space continuum reflections of the third big change I was going to be involved in. That was bringing Donald John Trump into Austin. I'm going to say that again. I said Austin into office. Because this is, you guys are actually really good questions. This is going to be a really good thing, but I'm going to say it again in a minute. Let's drink some of this Armani. I'll try to say it. Because it's the truth, and I'm just going to say it, that I wish I never would have fucking met Trump. I wish it never would have happened. And it's not that the attacks that I've been through. I'm so sick of fucking Donald Trump, man. God, I'm fucking sick of him. But I'm not doing this because it's like I'm kissing his fucking ass. You know, it's just like I'm sick of it. Do it in a minute.
That's about the most real Alex Jones has ever been. Don't listen to this guy. He's just trying to sell you something. I like how some of you are pointing out, Tabs here says, according to the CEH, which purchased the samples tested directly from the InfoWars online shop, people who take the Myco ZX product would ingest more than 6 times the daily limit for lead. Under California law, those taking Caveman True Paleo would ingest twice the Californian daily lead limit. It's full of lead. It's full of lead. And no wonder. I mean, lead has been shown to lower IQ and boost aggression. Lead poisoning has. Gee, I wonder why you'd want to sell that. All right. That was fun. Move on. Oh, Alex sold his sham anti-coronavirus toothpaste cure. Oh my God. Yes. Oh. No, that's not an Alex Jones clip. It's not. All I have here is
You're full of shit.
And
I will eat your ass.
Where he talked about eating his neighbors. Oh, Tab Sav. Okay, gotcha. This is something else.
How you like that, boy?
I'm sorry, I'm having too much fun with my soundboard. I can't believe you talked about eating his neighbors. What a weirdo. Like, who does that? Who does that and has a platform? Well, we already know the answer. Okay. Lord. All right. Let's go to a fun story. A little update on Devin's cow. Among the less crazy things to have happened in the last few years was a Republican representative from California suing a fake internet cow for defamation. No, I'm not kidding. You might have missed it. An oldie insanity. Now, we have an update on this very normal, very usual situation happening in politics. It appears now that Representative Devin Nunes' lawsuit against the Twitter handle @DevinsCow was dealt a major blow by a Virginia judge. So I'm going to go to reporting here from the Fresno Bee, saying, quote, a Virginia judge has dismissed the second of 2 lawsuits California Representative Devin Nunes filed against a Republican political strategist who he claimed spread defamatory information about him leading up to his 2018 re-election campaign, said the report. Judge John Marshall's ruling from earlier this month at Virginia's Henrico County Circuit Court dismisses Liz Mayer from a case Nunes filed against her. Twitter and 2 anonymous writers who heckled him on Twitter under the fictional personas of a cow and his mother. Not the cow's mother, but Devin Nunes' mother. I love this story. So this comes after a judge also ruled that Nunes cannot name Twitter as a defendant in his lawsuit. Dude is trying to sue Twitter because people are making fun of him. What a sad little snowflake. That is pathetic. Who sues Twitter? People are being mean on me online. They're being mean to me online. Go after them, sue them. Defamation. Oh my God. According to the report, Nunes continues to attempt to sue the Twitter personalities known as Devin Nunes' cow at Devin Cow and Devin Nunes' alt mom at Nunes alt, although he has not been able to serve them with a complaint because he doesn't know who they are. So imagine wasting your time and money in court because you are mad. You are so salty and so angry that there is an anonymous account that is making fun of you. Like, I get that all the time. Like, rando Twitter eggs and, ridiculous people. Like, I don't know. You know what? It's utterly ridiculous. Hasn't Nunes spent enough time milking this pointless beef? I think Devin just really needs to put this whole business out to pasture because it's clear that he's incredibly sour. I'll see myself out now. That's it. Too many puns. Too many puns. All right. Am I late on the puns? I know. Y'all were there already. Keep milking those. True.
Tighten up my meat. I like my meat tight.
Okay. What's up with the cow puns? I just did a story on Devin Nunes' lawsuit against the cow. Fun. Just fun. Wasn't cheesy enough. Oh, I get it. All right, Marjorie. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene. We got stuff. We got stuff. All right. Every once in a while I got to break up the puns. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene wants the vice president impeached for not personally aiding the evacuation of Americans in Afghanistan. So she recently spoke to a reporter about the situation that's going on in Afghanistan. Bad. You've got Americans and Afghans who are trying to desperately get out of the country as the Taliban solidifies control. And they're on a timetable. They got to get out by, August 31st. And so there's a lot of scrambling going on. And it's just it's a terrible situation. But instead of pitching solutions to the terribleness of the situation, Marjorie Taylor Greene decides that she's going to use this as a way to try to attack Kamala Harris. Take a look.
So Kamala Harris, for her not to speak out about this, for her not to fly over to Afghanistan to the Kabul airport is disgraceful and unforgivable. She should be impeached as well. All of them are complicit in this, and they knew. They knew.
They knew. They knew. They knew what? What did they know? What did they know? Oh, that the Taliban was going to take over? Yes, everybody with two brain cells to rub together knew that this would be the end result of a 20-year occupation. I think we all kind of called it on this one. And yes, look, the mistake that the Biden administration made is thinking that they had more time. They thought that the Afghan army would actually want to fight, and hold their ground against the Taliban, and thought that all those, $2 trillion that we spent arming and training them would somehow make them want to fight. And of course they didn't. Look, the Afghan army outnumbered the Taliban, outgunned them. Again, were better trained, but understand that they had no will to fight on behalf of a U.S. puppet government that we spent, again, $2 trillion in 20 years to prop up. And now, as a result, by the way, all that equipment is now in the hands of the Taliban. Whoa, that's great for them. That's terrible for us. But also, guess what? Who else wins? You guessed it, defense contractors who got paid for that. So, yeah, lovely. Great job. Super. And look, you want to blame Joe Biden for the war? Well, that's totally fair. He did vote for it. In fact, there was only one congresswoman who stood against that war and the Iraq war, and that is the great Barbara Lee. She was 100% vindicated in her vote against the Bush administration going to war. That woman deserves a statue with the words, I was right. No, not I was right. I told you so. Big old statue of her pointing her finger saying, I told you so. Put it right in the steps of the Pentagon. Right in front. But as for Marjorie Taylor Greene, how stupid are you? Look, don't answer that. It's a rhetorical question. But I'm just going to ask, is there ever been any point in history where a vice president should have been helping an evacuation on the ground in a hostile country? Logically, it would make no sense. First off, Harris would require extensive security support while in Kabul. So now, this is in the backdrop of while soldiers and embassy staff are scrambling to get people out. And what that would do is it would basically get in the way and make it worse for the evacuations. Worse. Secondly, if Trump were still president and he went through the same plan, because he was planning to withdraw from Afghanistan as well, which was the right policy, the right way to go, do you actually think that things would have been different? Does Marjorie Taylor Greene think that things would have been different? Assuming Trump didn't cave to conservative media for criticizing him, Fox News saying, oh my God, I can't believe Donald Trump would pull out of Afghanistan. Oh, what a terrible thing. And would, get bullied or whatever, embarrassed into sending troops back in. If that didn't happen, well, then we would be facing probably the exact same situation. And if that were the case, do you think anybody would be calling for Mike Pence to sit there and evacuate people personally out of Kabul? Do you think anybody in their right mind would actually be calling for that? You think anybody in the left would be like, you know what? Mike Pence needs to be right there in Kabul, evacuating people by hand with no support, just the shirt on his back. Yes, right, the Mike Pence coming to save the day in Kabul.
Mike Pounds.
No, it wouldn't happen. No, and nobody would be calling for that because it's stupid. It's really, really dumb. It's a dumb idea. Patently absurd. But, of course, I have seen, going back to that Mike Pence example, I have seen MAGA cultists say some pretty weird things. I'm pretty sure out there's some cosplay being written, like, if Donald Trump would be president, he would be literally in Kabul right now because he's the ultimate alpha and would scare the Taliban away. We wouldn't even have to send the military back in because Donald Trump, once they laid eyes upon his majesty in person, they would surrender to his greatness and return to their caves in disgrace. Yes. Okay, see, to understand where I got that from, I've seen enough Trump fan fiction, and trust me, it is worse than it sounds. Okay? And look, I went down that rabbit hole, so you didn't have to. And let me tell you, I've seen some shit, and I am forever scarred, mentally. But, all right. Anyway, more important points to get off that. This is about the absurdity of impeaching Kamala Harris over this. Now, look, I'm not the biggest Kamala Harris fan. I think you might remember my reporting during the Democratic primary in 2020. And the absolute embarrassment of losing her own state. Yikes. That said, does she deserve to get impeached for this? No. For one, just to show you how absurd it is, there's literally been no vice president that's ever been removed through impeachment. Some have, faced impeachment, but never been removed. In fact, you need a 2/3 majority. The bar is incredibly high. Again, the same as trying to remove a president, which Democrats failed to do twice, and then Republicans failed to do with Bill Clinton before. So it's not going to happen. Stop saying impeachment. Impeachment's not going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen. There's literally nothing to impeach them for. There just isn't. What this is Marjorie Taylor Greene being incredibly salty that Democrats tried to impeach Donald Trump. And so, again, she's just going to stay salty and say absolute ridiculous things. So, ridiculousness, right? All right. Oh, Jeff, I found out about the most frightening Trump-themed things from watching your show. I thought the Trump sex toy couldn't be topped. It's bad. Not good. Not good at all. Like you don't know, man. Going through some of the weirdo pro-Trump fan fiction is just, and then you got like the like statuesque like drawings of Donald Trump that it's like he's like gigantic or something, where he's just like, and I'm not in the best shape either, so I don't really feel like I'm throwing a stone here, because, or I should say, living in a glass house, because I am also not in the greatest of shape. So to be fair, I would find it extremely weird if somebody drew me like super buff too. I'd be like, that is not real. That's not true. It would be nice, but no. So weird. So weird. All right. And I thought I've seen some bad stuff at my job. Al Yasher, thank you for sharing 10 bits. I appreciate that on Twitch. Change the subject. Am I, though? I don't know. I wear big shirts. All right. Let's move on. More stories. More stories. Oops. The company contracted by Republicans to do the bizarre Arizona election audit have come down with COVID. Yes. 3 of the members of this company, Cyber Ninjas, have come down with COVID-19. This is according to a top Republican state lawmaker. Fun. So now the firm Cyber Ninjas had been expected to hand over the findings of their audit on Monday from its widely criticized review of the 2020 presidential election ballots cast in Maricopa County. However, that timeline will be pushed back after a majority of its team became quite sick from COVID-19. That's really weird, because for some reason, Republicans kept telling me that COVID-19 is totally fine. And that's not a big deal, and that we don't. Oh no, vaccination. What are you talking about? No, vaccinations, masks. No, totally fine. Oh, oops. Now they got COVID. Now the team. This is according to Arizona Senate President Karen Fann. The team expected to have the full draft ready for the Senate today, but unfortunately, Cyber Ninja CEO Doug Logan and 2 other members of the 5-person audit team have tested positive for COVID-19 and are quite sick. Fann said the lawmakers have received a portion of the draft report and that members of the Arizona Senate's legal team would meet Wednesday to begin the process of reviewing the draft for accuracy, clarity, and proof of documentation, the findings. So now, look, I don't wish ill things on anybody. So let's take a step back, all right? I hope they recover. And then, but you know why? Because, of course, I'm a person that cares about like humanity and human lives. And I generally don't want to see anybody get sick. But also, I have a little bit of more of a selfish reason to hope for the recovery so that they can get nationally embarrassed when their audit proves nothing. I just find that it would be like, I'd feel good. It would just make me feel good. All right. So anyway, now this thing's supposed to wrap up soon, I guess, soon-ish. And oh boy, I wonder what we're gonna find. Could it be a whole load of nothing? Yes. Wouldn't that be a shocker? No, not really. It wouldn't be a shocker. Look, the Arizona audit, clown show, always has been, and whatever so-called findings they come up with, remember, they don't have any experience in conducting election audits, so you should, of course, be dubious about anything that they present. Just saying. Plus, we know the CEO is deeply biased towards Donald Trump and towards the results that he wants to find. In fact, according to the Daily Beast, Logan had publicly embraced Trump's baseless conspiracies that the election was rigged for Biden and that millions of votes were stolen from the ex-president. Additionally, multiple pro-Trump dark money groups have funded the $6 million audit, including a nonprofit founded by the two hosts for the far-right network One American News, which has reportedly frequently peddled election lies on its airwaves. So he already came to a conclusion, and he was getting paid a lot of money. Millions of dollars off peddling that conclusion. And so, now when things are supposed to kind of, end for this whole thing, now he and his team come down with COVID. Interesting. But understand, this is a grift. This is a grift right here. It's plain as day, exactly what they've been doing, and it's all a sham. In fact, election experts across the political spectrum have said there are too many flaws in the way this review is conducted to trust it, and cited a series of red flags, such as the auditors chasing down bizarre conspiracy theories. Like, for example, the bamboo ballots, China hacking, Venezuela and the ghost of Hugo Chavez designing the voting machines, the Italians were involved somehow, and all these other things that make no sense. Nobody with a fully formed and functional brain would believe in any of this stuff. It's ridiculous. Even some of the the Arizona Republicans who voted to authorize the audits have come to regret their votes and have publicly criticized the process. Oh man, I voted for this? Ooh, not good. And now you even have some top officials on a bipartisan way calling this out. So you have one Secretary of State, Katie Hobbs, Democrat, Maricopa County Recorder Stephen Ricker, in separate reports. Ricker's a Republican. They have went after the inspection itself as deeply flawed, saying so much that Hobbs argued that it, quote, didn't even merit the term audit. Quote, despite frequent references to this review as an audit, this exercise undertaken by the Arizona Senate's Florida-based contractor, Cyber Ninjas, fails to meet industry standards for any credible audit, much less for an election audit. The Senate's contractors demonstrated a lack of understanding of election processes and procedures both at a state and county level. Ricker, the Republican Maricopa County Recorder, said this: nobody stole Maricopa County's elections. Elections in Maricopa County aren't rigged. And he cited statements from Governor Doug Ducey, a Republican, Attorney General Mark Brnovich, another Republican, former Attorney General William Barr, and several other attorneys representing former President Donald Trump. So Ricker also wrote this: I believe in the court system. I believe in facts and logic. Oh, that's a first for a Republican. I believe that Maricopa County has many safeguards against widespread fraud. I believe in the simple, straightforward, data-backed explanation that Trump lost many Republican voters in affluent areas. Accordingly, I know Joe Biden won Maricopa County. And of course, ironically, to tie this whole thing together, is that one of the major reasons that Donald Trump lost was because of his reaction to COVID. It was terrible. He downplayed the virus. 500,000 Americans died. He got voted out of office. That's what happens when you're a loser. Look, they spent months pushing these election conspiracies, okay? And so it is kind of interesting that as the country braces for this farce of an audit to be over, it happens to be right on the nose that these auditors get COVID. Weird. I wouldn't be surprised that they weren't vaccinated. If we find out, just saying. But really, this feels like, to kind of tie it into what a lot of my programming seems to be about, is this is what happens when you believe in nonsense conspiracy theories. Election fraud, conspiracy theory. You know, all the disinformation about COVID-19, again, paste in conspiracy theories. And for some reason, this happens to be a double whammy. A little bit of double dose of reality and a sign from the universe that you suck and are full of shit. Any company with the name Ninja in the name is not a serious company. Okay, what about the Ninja blenders? Those are pretty good. Maybe that's just a brand name and not the actual company itself. But you know, I have a Ninja air fryer. I think it's pretty good. I like it. But I get what you mean. All right. So, one more story here. So there may be some good news if you've been following the passage of the $3.5 trillion infrastructure reconciliation package. So now it appears, maybe, that corporate Democrats that are trying to hold up this bill, well, might not hold it up for much longer. So now this is coming from a report from Jake Johnson's at Common Dreams. He writes that the effort by 9 conservative House Democrats to force a quick vote on the bipartisan infrastructure bill began to collapse over the weekend as progressive lawmakers, as well as Speaker Pelosi, which, again, strange to have her on our side on this one, which is very strange, but nonetheless made clear that they would not allow the legislation to advance until the Senate also passes a sweeping reconciliation package. Earlier this month, Representative Josh Gottheimer, and I reported this, and 8 other Democrats sent a letter to Pelosi threatening to vote down the $3.5 trillion budget resolution unless the House first passes the $550 billion bipartisan infrastructure bill that the Senate approved on August 11th. Those Democrats were backed by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and other corporate lobbyists to make sure that that reconciliation package never sees the light of day. That's why the order matters, right? So if they let the bipartisan bill go first and gets out of the way, then there's absolutely going to be no leverage at all for corporate Democrats to then vote for the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill. But if you do the reconciliation bill first and guarantee their votes and then guarantee passage, okay, if we're doing this together, then one's got to pass. And if the $3.5 trillion package does not pass, then you're not getting the bipartisan package. It's leverage, called leverage. And it's good to see them actually use it. That said, so now, look, I don't want to get the terrible bipartisan bill because, and here's why it's terrible, by the way. It only involves physical infrastructure. There's no spending towards climate change, and there's also provisions in it that privatize public assets, which is called asset recycling. Now, that bill, again, also benefits mainly multinational corporations. That's why, of course, they were able to get corporate Democrats and Republicans on board, because these corporations, they need roads and they need bridges. And plus, there's a lot of investment in these corporations, including investments in oil and gas. And the aforementioned privatization, which is going to help corporations be able to monetize roads with toll booths, right? So now, if that passes, well, that's a disaster. But that's what they want. Now, for progressives, they said, absolutely not. You can't have that without getting the larger package, which includes good things like childcare, paid leave, free community college, public investments in public housing, spending on climate change measures, an expansion of Medicare, which would include dental, vision, and hearing, things that are absolutely necessary. All of that is in the reconciliation package, and that package is incredibly popular with the American people. In fact, over 60% of Americans across multiple polls support this legislation. We don't care about how much it costs. We don't give a damn about it. Oh, the debts and deficit spending, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But that was the main argument being used by corporate Democrats to try to shut down this reconciliation package. And that's why they're, of course, the corporate Democrats are trying to push their bipartisan bill only and first, so they can turn around and say, well, now that we got ours, we'll screw the rest of you. Thankfully, it hasn't worked. Now, David Dayen reports, and David Dayen, of course, is for the American Prospect, says that with the House now taking up the multi-trillion-dollar budget resolution, several members of the conservative group have decided to drop their threat to vote against the measure. He also stressed the situation is very malleable and fluid. It appears that House progressives' firm support for delaying a vote on the bipartisan bill is beginning to pay off. And again, this is why if you have leverage, you use it. And in this case, progressives are actually able to use their leverage. Good. Good. Now, on August 10th, just days before Gottheimer's group sent the letter, the nearly 100-member Congressional Progressive Caucus announced that the majority of the respondents to an internal survey said they would be willing to withhold their votes for the bipartisan legislation until the Senate also passes the reconciliation bill. So they actually have the membership on their side, the majority on their side in the House that are saying, no, we get what we want, and then we'll give you what you want, not the other way around. Corporate Democrats, the 9 of you, we are not here to play. It has to be done in that specific order. Okay? And so what's interesting here is that you actually had most Democrats in the House, including Nancy Pelosi, to support this move. Nancy Pelosi is not somebody who usually plays nice with progressives. But on this one, she actually is. Which, again, it's really, really strange to see because she, again, generally is not in favor of helping progressives do progressive things. But on this one, she's actually a bit of an ally. I know. It's weird for me to say, but in fact, she's been incredibly strong against those corporate Democrats, other corporate Democrats, because she is one as well. But the conservative Democrats who want to shut down the bill, she actually said this in reference during a leadership call last week, quote, "This is no time for amateur hour." Interesting. So now something to note here. So at least 2 of the letter's 9 signatories, Representatives Carolyn Bordeaux and Vicente Gonzalez, had attended Nancy Pelosi's annual fundraiser in Napa over the weekend. But it's unclear whether they were among the conservative Democrats who reportedly dropped their threat to tank the budget resolution. My guess is there's probably something going on here behind the scenes. You got wheeling and dealing. If it's one thing Nancy Pelosi actually knows how to do, is raise money for corporate Democrats. That is the very reason that she is in leadership, is because she raises money. So what I'm guessing is she actually wants to get this win, you know, for not only the party, but for herself and for Biden. And she's saying, look, I'll raise money for you because that's what I do here if you get on board. And if you don't get on board with this and you make us look bad, well, I mean, I can't help you. That's my guess, because again, there's all this internal stuff that goes on. There's a lot of different power plays going on behind the scenes. And so raising money is one of the big ones. But it doesn't really matter. Like, to me, it doesn't matter too much about the theater of it, as long as we get results. Like, you can play your games behind the scenes, whatever. As long as we get policy, that's all I give a shit about. And so, as Dan notes, it's not clear what may have compelled the conservative Democrats to flip. The Washington Post reported on Sunday that some of the 9 lawmakers sought to negotiate a potential end to the standoff with Democratic leaders, but no deal has been publicized as of yet. It was the DCCC that pressured the Democrats. Basically, it was you don't vote for reconciliation, we cut funding, which, okay, yeah, that does actually make a lot of sense. In a letter to the House Democratic Caucus on Saturday, Pelosi reiterated her commitment to passing both the Build Back Better plan and the bipartisan infrastructure bill before October 1st. Any delay in passing the budget resolution threatens the timetable for delivering any historic progress and transformative vision that Democrats share. And also, she had said, in support of President Joe Biden's vision to build back better, we must move quickly to pass a budget resolution this week. It is essential that our caucus proceeds unified in our determination to deliver once-in-a-century progress for the children. Bullshit political speak aside, because that's a masterclass in that, right? She's actually right that $3.5 trillion is significant. It's not nothing. It is a significant investment into the country. Is it the most ambitious thing we could ever do? No, of course not. But and of course, to go along with it, do we need more? Absolutely. I mean, what happened to Joe Biden's public option? You would think that during COVID, that would also be part of this, or somehow they'd work that into the bill. We didn't. That just kind of disappeared. They just kind of stopped talking about it. But at least there is an expansion of Medicare, thanks, of course, to Bernie Sanders. Not that we don't need infrastructure, by the way. There's a lot of good things that go into this reconciliation bill, or that could go into it, but you'd still have to go through the corporate Democrats, and that's pretty hard when there's so few progressives in office right now. But all that aside, we might have a small win here. And I know some of you, again, are thinking, yeah, but this is just kabuki theater. Either they always supported this and they're just playing this. Again, I don't really care about it. I don't really care about the theater. I don't care about the optics. If we actually get the policies that are in this, that's going to be a net benefit to the country. So I'll take it. There are good policies in this. Bernie Sanders, of course, put this together. He didn't get everything he wanted. His original bill was over $6 trillion that he tried and ended up, of course, cutting it in half. Look, the guy tried to pack as much good into that as possible. As much as he could get away with. And that's what you have to do. Without a majority of our electeds being progressive, you got to do your wins where you can inside the system for now. And I just say that, look, if progressives can have this much effect with such limited membership, then that really does make the case of getting more progressives into office. And that's not, of course, the only thing that we should do. We should also build up community power. We should support workers strikes. Right now, there is a Nabisco strike going on, so don't buy Oreos. Don't buy Blizzard games while their workers are fighting for equal rights, fighting for, labor rights. Get in touch, with fellow progressives. Build that community power. Push unions and labor. And hold politicians accountable from the outside. It's not just about electoralism. Yes, that is a big part of it. But of course, you have mutual aid, you have charity, You have all different things that you can do to build this power outside the electoral system in order to put pressure on the electoral system. I know a lot of people like to talk about, general strike, right? And that's a good idea, but you have to lay the groundwork for that. And the reason that I say you have to lay the groundwork is because once you have that, once you kick that off, well, how do you sustain it against the capitalist class who has all the money? You got to have people that are able to sustain themselves through a general strike. And so, again, building up that community power, boycotting companies that are anti-worker, and all of that is an excellent way to go. Demanding higher wages, building union power. That's how you get these things done outside of the system, and as well of course, not ignoring electoralism, because as we've seen, that is an important part as well. You've got to have people in office that can actually vote on things. What's to prevent the civil disobedience en masse to be crushed by the cops? Like, they already did that at Occupy. I'm just saying, we kind of have a police state at this point. So, I think that's an important question. All right, wow, that is a massive storm going on outside. So, I gotta go. Thank you for going around the nation with me today. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Also, check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/Walter. We talk about, of course, supporting, unions, but also support independent, progressive media. And it helps us out so that we can continue to say things. So, and spread the message. All right. Thank you all. Love you. And remember, change begins with you. Love you all. We're going to raid in here to another channel. Let me find it. Oh, actually, you know what? I've got super chats here. Good morning, Jeff from New Zealand. Good morning to you. Trevor Watson again saying this is why the world is going. This is why the world is going. What the F America. And Gabby Mathis, thank you for that very kind $5. Appreciate that all. I love you all, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Stay safe.
There's some wars in this house. Wet ass P-word.
Please clap.
Why? You're getting nervous, man.
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.